At a family gathering to transfer the inheritance, my parents shocked me by giving the entire $5 million to their favorite daughter and telling me to work harder. But then, my grandpa stood up and surprised everyone by handing me a $55 million check. My mom shouted, "You can't do this to me," what my grandpa did. Next left her in complete shock. Part 1. So now you decide to show up? Her voice was cold, nothing like the warm tones that had comforted me throughout my childhood. Grandma, what's going on? I asked, my words tumbling out as I tried to make sense of what was happening. They told me you were in a nursing home. Don't, she said, holding up her hand. That small gesture felt like a physical blow. Your grandfather called you over and over. He was asking for you on his deathbed, wanting to say goodbye to his little scientist, but you couldn't be bothered to answer his calls or visit him. How could you be so cruel? Sharon, let me see the number he was calling, I said, trying to keep my voice steady. Please, Grandma, I need to understand. She disappeared inside for a moment and returned with a small notepad in her trembling hands. The number scribbled on it was in Grandpa's familiar handwriting. That's not my number, I whispered, staring at the unfamiliar digits. I've had the same number since high school. They gave you a fake number. What do you mean, fake number? She asked, her stern expression starting to crack. Your parents said you changed it when you went to university, she said, her voice softer now. They told us you wanted to distance yourself from us. The pieces began to fall into place. Grandma, I came here during break. Helen was here. She wouldn't let me in. She said no one was home. Then Mom and Dad told me you and Grandpa were in a nursing home. Grandma's face went pale. A nursing home? We never, her voice trailed off, her hands shaking. Helen and your parents told us you were too busy with your new university life to visit. They said, her voice cracked. They said you were ashamed of us. That we weren't sophisticated enough for you anymore. They said. What? My knees went weak, and I leaned against the porch railing for support. How could they? They told us the funeral was at 2 p.m. today, I said, the words catching in my throat. When I got to the church, it was already over. They said I mixed up the times, but I didn't. I would never, the funeral was at 10 a.m., Grandma said slowly, realization dawning in her eyes. Your parents stood there and told everyone how ashamed they were that you couldn't even be bothered to come to your own grandfather's funeral. Helen was crying, saying how she tried so hard to reach you. Tears welled up in my eyes, and before I knew it, I had fallen into her arms. Both of us dissolved into sobs on the front porch, all the pain and confusion pouring out. He died thinking I abandoned him, I sobbed into her shoulder. Grandpa died thinking I didn't care. Grandma stroked my hair, like she used to when I was little, her own tears falling freely. We know the truth now. We know. After we dried our tears, Grandma picked up the phone. Her fingers trembled slightly as she dialed, but her voice was steady. Karen, yes, it's me. I need you, Michael, and Helen to come over right away. There are some important documents we need to discuss. No, it can't wait. When she hung up, she looked at me with determination in her eyes. They'll be here in an hour. The lawyer is on his way too. When the doorbell rang, Grandma squeezed my hand. Stay in the kitchen until I call you. I listened from the other room as they entered. I heard Mom's practiced social laugh, Dad's formal tone, and Helen's bored sigh. Then Grandma's voice, sharp and commanding, please, everyone, take a seat. Mr. William is here to read Thomas's will. That was my cue. I stepped into the living room just as the lawyer opened his briefcase. The looks on their faces were unforgettable. Mom's perfect smile froze in place. Dad's face turned pale, and Helen's jaw dropped in shock. Mr. William cleared his throat and began, I, Thomas Walker, being of sound mind, declare this to be my last will and testament. The room fell silent, except for the sound of rustling papers. First came the house, left to Grandma along with a substantial sum for her care and maintenance. Then came the part that made Helen's face flush red with anger. To my granddaughter, Sharon Walker, I leave my newly constructed laboratory facility at 1550 Pine Street, fully equipped and ready for her research work. All necessary permits and paperwork have been processed and finalized. I couldn't believe my ears. Grandpa had built me a lab, my very own research facility. The remainder of my estate, Mr. William continued, is to be divided equally between my granddaughters, Sharon and Helen Walker. Helen pushed her chair back abruptly and stood up, her face contorted with fury. But before she could say anything, Grandma raised her hand. There's more, she said, pulling out a letter. Your grandfather wanted this to be read as well. I braced myself as she unfolded the letter, memories of Grandpa flooding my mind. Where should we put this one? Grandpa would ask each time I brought home a new trophy or diploma. In the box with the others, I'd reply, pulling out the special cardboard box I kept under my bed. I never displayed my awards, not because I wasn't proud, but because I didn't want to seem boastful. Mostly, though, I knew my success made my parents uncomfortable. Helen, of course, had her own take. Nobody likes a know-it-all, she'd sneer. But she didn't mind asking me for help with her science homework, or, better yet, just having me do it for her. Helen, that's cheating. I protested, watching her copy my answers. Sharon, help your sister right now, Mom would command in that tone that left no room for argument. Family helps family. And just like that, I'd end up doing Helen's homework, feeling like a fraud but too afraid to stand up to my parents. It became a predictable pattern. Helen would demand, my parents would insist, and I would comply. I hated it, but what choice did I have? Sometimes, I'd overhear my parents talking about me when they thought I wasn't listening. Their hushed voices would drift up the stairs to my room, where I'd be tinkering with my chemistry set or studying the latest research paper. I just don't understand where she gets it from, Mom would say, her tone exasperated. No one in our family is like this. Maybe she was switched at birth, Dad would joke, but there was a seriousness beneath his laugh that cut deeper than if he'd just come out and said he didn't understand me. One evening, after I won another science competition, I heard Dad's voice from his study. He was talking to Helen about her grades, which had been slipping. Like you can click on share more to see if there is a part 2.